Miss, if you'd step in front of Brittany, we'll get you sworn in. Right here, please.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter before the court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to the pains and penalties of perjury? Thank you. Please have a seat.
It's on the first page. It's 840.
Good morning.
Good morning.
If you could please state your name and spell your last name.
Allison Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T.
Ma'am, where do you work?
C&E Stonemasonry.
How long have you worked there?
Since established in 2010.
Did you know Eric Richins?
Yes.
How did you know him?
I first met him in junior high. He was a friend of my sister's. They were both in high school. He spent time at our house, and eventually we ended up in high school at the same time.
And is your husband was his business partner? Is that correct? Did you know Kouri Richins?
Yes.
How did you know Kouri Richins?
When I met her when she was dating Eric.
I want to talk with you about a couple of handwriting items before I ask you a few other questions. That's State's Exhibit 8-49 for the record. Sorry, I've got too many things on my podium here. All right. So I'm going to hand you this booklet.
Okay.
Okay. If you could turn to tab 4 for me. Do you recognize those items in tab 4?
Yes.
Is it, and if it's multiple pages, you can look through all the pages. Is it just the one page?
There's multiple pages.
Okay, and the first page is the one that you recognize, is that right?
Correct.
And go ahead and turn to tab 12 for me.
Okay.
And do you recognize those items?
Yes.
What are, in tab 4 and in tab 12, what are those items?
They are returned checks from C&E Stonemasonry's banking account.
And are those checks that you gathered and gave to Katie Richins Benson?
Correct.
And you gathered those from C&E's accounting books and things like that, their bank records?
Correct. The check on tab 4 was collected on an online banking, and the other ones were printed checks from our files.
What do you do for C&E?
Admin and bookkeeping.
Okay. So I want to switch gears. I want to turn your attention to February of 2019. Do you recall that time frame?
Yes.
Was there a time in February of 2019 that you took a vacation with Eric Richins and Kouri Richins and your families?
Yes. No, just the adults.
Just the adults. Okay, no kids were there. And do you remember a conversation during that trip with Kouri Richins that stood out to you?
Yes.
Go ahead and describe for the jury what you remember about that conversation.
On our vacation, Kouri and I ended up alone for a moment, and we're just talking about our families, life, kids.
Your Honor, objection. Can we approach?
Yes. Stretch your legs. We'll invite you out of the courtroom. Please rise for the jury. Please have a seat. We're still on the record. Ms. Sherbanek, if you would just ask your next several questions, we'll see where this goes.
Certainly. And so now that we're outside the presence of the jury, we're just going to get a preview of how you would answer the question that I just asked you. So describing what you remember from that conversation with Kouri Richins from the vacation.
While we were sitting there, we were discussing life, and Kouri then explained how things weren't super great in her marriage, how she felt trapped. She explained to me that there was a prenuptial agreement that was put in place, and I had never heard of that. She continued to say how I think the trapped was mostly due to financial, is Eric would, because of the terms of the financial agreement, Eric would end up benefiting financially and continue to live as they currently were, where she would be in a different circumstance. She explained how she feared that the kids would be drawn to Eric's life and felt like she was unhappy in there, but feared what it would look like if she ended the marriage.
And is it okay if I ask a follow-up question?
Of course.
Did that conversation kind of give you context or inform you about Kouri, kind of what she was doing with her business at that time?
Yeah, things started to make sense. Like, I was impressed that she went and got a master's degree. Kouri's motivated, hardworking. I always admired that. And she was very motivated, it felt like, to become financially independent.
Your Honor, this conversation, can we get a foundation of exactly when in 2019 this conversation took place? Sometime in that year?
February, but
Mid-February.
Okay.
I think the trip started on the 17th. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure what day.
Do you want to have this discussion with the witness
I
present?
do. Outside that, if she could step down and step out.
Do you want any more of her recollection before we have the conversation?
No.
Okay. Do you mind just waiting out in the lobby for us for a
Yes.
minute? Thank you.
Your Honor, may it please the court. According to Mrs. Wright, this conversation took place in February of 2019, 3 years prior, more than 3 years prior to Mr. Richins' death. In the interim, in between 2019 and 2022, the Richins attended marriage counseling and worked on their marriage, and a bunch of water under the bridge. To allow a conversation on a vacation in a situation where two women are just chatting about the condition of their marriage, 3 years, there's certainly no allegation here that Kouri Richins was planning to murder her husband 3 years in advance. Outrageously prejudicial due to the temporal distance in the statement that is being made. No relevance because it's 3 years prior.
Why isn't it relevant to show that Ms. Richins was aware of the outcome financially that would flow to her from a divorce based upon the prenuptial agreement?
She's aware of that when she signs the prenuptial agreement. They've entered the agreement that she signed.
This is, well, I mean, I think you've answered my question. It is relevant to show she's aware of it.
No, sir. The conversation in 2019 certainly isn't relevant. They have introduced a prenuptial agreement that she signed. It's clear that she knew.
I apologize for interrupting you. It's not clear because it doesn't, I have no evidence that she read it. I don't have any evidence that she understood it. Here, I have a witness saying she understood it, was aware of it, was fearful of it, was taking steps to mitigate.
Okay. If that's going to come in over my objection, certainly respect your ruling. We've made our record, but I would ask that all the rest of that conversation be stricken as too far away, about being trapped in her marriage, about being unhappy. Everything about that is utterly irrelevant and outrageously prejudicial. And we would ask that it be stricken and only be allowed to say that she discussed her prenuptial agreement, and that's it. And we also would like a continuing objection to any questions of this witness about any conversation in 2019. And we respect your ruling on that.
Okay, so defendant's objection to this series of questions of Ms. Wright is overruled. The testimony that was put on the record through the voir dire requested by defendant is relevant because it shows defendant's genuine subjective awareness of what she believed were the financial consequences that would flow to her if she and her husband divorced. It provides additional probative value because it shows that she was concerned about having less money than her husband if they divorced by virtue of the prenuptial agreement. She was taking steps to mitigate that potential potential financial effects. She was concerned about how her children might associate more with her husband by virtue of the lifestyle that he would be able to maintain in a post-divorce financial environment. That is all probative to the issues in this case, and it is not substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice.
Your Honor, can I also get a ruling just to avoid having to take another break when the jury comes back? Obviously, I have a right to go into her credibility and bias at this point, no matter what's being asked on direct, correct?
That's a very broad statement. You can certainly go into potential sources of bias.
Thank you. That's all I need.
Okay. Okay. Folks, let's take a 10-minute break. We'll come back at 10 of 12. Thank you. No one is allowed to speak to Ms. Wright during this break. Please give her some space. Thank you. Court's in recess.
All rise.
Is Nestor ready for the jury?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Shervanek?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yeah.
They can come in when they're ready. You have a glass of water?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
All rise, jury.
Please have a seat as you come in. All right, please have a seat. Ms. Shervanek, please proceed.
So, Ms. Wright, before we took our break, I had asked you about a conversation you had with Kouri Richins on a vacation you took. When did that vacation take place?
February of 2019.
And what was that conversation? Describe for the jury what happened during that conversation.
Kouri and I were finally in a position where our husbands were no longer with us. We were just discussing life. We both have kids, our marriages, and Kouri opened up and shared that things were difficult at home. A word I remember is that she felt trapped. At this time, I learned that their marriage had a prenuptial agreement, and she explained that she felt like She was frustrated in the relationship, but also it would be difficult to leave. Eric would end up financially secure, and her the opposite. She feared what would happen in divorce. She mentioned that maybe the kids would prefer him with the lifestyle that they had, four-wheelers and toys and opportunities, where she would have less. She feared how she would be represented by him in the community. I felt for her. It was a hard conversation. I knew that things had been hard since their youngest child was born, and I was tender towards her current circumstance.
Thank you. And did that conversation give you any context to what was happening in terms of Kouri's business at that time?
Yeah, Kouri is super ambitious. She went back to school and got a master's degree. I was impressed. I had young kids. I wasn't sure I could do that. She then went and got a real estate license and was trying to build that business. That conversation kept playing in my mind as I think this is a way to become financially independent and secure.
Thank you. Those are all my questions for you. The defense may have some. Thanks.
Thank you.
May it please the court. Good morning.
Good morning.
This conversation you're talking about happened in Hawaii, didn't it?
No,
Where was it?
Costa Rica.
I'm sorry, Costa Rica. And the reason you all were talking about her marriage, there was a reason she was upset in her marriage at that time, wasn't there?
Not that I know.
Think hard.
Reason she was upset. What I understood from the conversation is things were frustrating at home.
And that's because she believed he was having an affair with a coworker. Is that right?
Overruled.
Is that right?
She and I never discussed her thinking about an affair.
Is that the context of the conversation you were having that day, that she believed he was having an affair with a coworker, and that's why she was upset with her marriage and talking about divorce?
I don't recall that.
Were you aware of it at that time, that there was an affair going on between Eric and a coworker?
I don't recall that conversation versus when I found out.
When did you find out?
Or wait, I'm sorry, will you repeat that question?
When did you find out that Eric was having an affair with a woman that worked with him?
These are facts not in evidence. Assume it's facts not in evidence.
Foundation. You got to lay a foundation for this. I'm not sure this witness knows anything about it. Why don't you ask her?
You just testified that when you found out, you weren't sure if it was during this conversation. So when did you
No.
find out?
That's not accurate. You have to ask it open-ended.
Okay. When did you find out? Was it any time near this conversation?
Will you repeat that question with more detail?
When did you find out that Eric was supposedly having an affair with another woman in context to this conversation? Before, after, during?
I'm having a difficult time understanding because help me understand affair. Because, like, I think there was a friendship with a lady, but I don't know exactly what was going on.
Understood. That's fair. So let me rephrase it. Did you become aware that Eric had intimate feelings towards a woman that he was working with?
Your Honor, assumes fact, not evidence,
She's
argument, and
asking
question.
whether this person ever became aware of it. Overruled. It's a yes or no question. Ms. Wright, could we start there?
Can you repeat the question?
Did you become aware that Eric, at around this time, 2019, had intimate feelings towards a woman, another woman that he worked with that was causing problems in their marriage?
I don't remember when I became aware of it.
Ballpark.
I'm sorry. I think I'd heard of it like twice, and I don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember.
When you were having this conversation with Kouri, did you know at that time?
I don't believe I did.
All right, these vacations, you had vacations with Eric and Kouri on more than one occasion, didn't you guys?
Yes.
And then at some point, those totally stopped, didn't they?
Yes.
And what happened that made you guys stop going on vacations together?
COVID was the next year.
Besides COVID.
Our family life was busy.
In fact, didn't Cody and Eric have a big falling out? Your husband is Cody Wright, correct?
My husband is Cody.
And how does Cody Wright know Eric?
We were friends in high school. They went on to work together, broke off and started a business together, and maintained their friendship.
So
for
they were business partners.
Correct.
And they both owned C&E stonemasonry together, right?
Correct.
And at some point, your families quit hanging out. Personally.
We continue to go to birthday parties and like that kind of an event. No longer vacations. I think we had a vacation planned in 2020 that got canceled due to COVID is the one that I recall.
In fact, didn't Eric and Cody have a falling out over Cody calling the police on Eric?
Cody didn't call the police on Eric.
Did Cody provide testimony against Eric with relation to an investigation against Eric for
Objection,
violating
Your Honor.
hunting laws?
Lack of foundation.
Well, this is a different question. Ask her if she's aware.
Are you aware that Cody provided information to law enforcement against Eric for a violation of hunting laws?
Yes.
And Eric and him, as I would say, fell out over that. I don't know another word. Had a disagreement about that.
Yes, temporarily.
And you guys never vacationed together again after that, did you?
No.
All right. Now, you said that you did the payroll and the bookkeeping at C&E, is that right?
We have a payroll service company.
Oh, sorry, sure. Okay, but you do the bookkeeping.
Yes.
So you know how much money's coming into that company, right?
Correct.
And you know how much money's going out, right?
Yes.
And do you and your husband have joint, do you share your marital money, or does he keep his business money separate?
We share our marital money.
Pause for 1 second, Ms. Nestor. Go ahead, Ms. Sherman.
This is outside the scope, correct?
Sustained.
All right. Setting aside your personal financial affairs, you're very aware of C&E's financial affairs, correct? Because you do the bookkeeping.
Correct.
All right. And
Objection, Your Honor, this is still outside the scope.
no, it's not.
Yeah. Please approach me. Your next question, please, Ms. Nestor.
Since Eric's death, you and your family have grown pretty close to the Richins family. Is that fair?
Objection, Your Honor.
Goes to
Outside the
bias.
scope.
Goes to bias.
Overruled. If you would please restate the question.
Since Eric's death, you and Cody have become very close to the Richins family. Is that fair?
I would say the relationship didn't change.
So you were very close to them before.
Yes.
All right. And it's true that since Eric's death, your husband has even accompanied them to court hearings and sat beside them. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Have you?
Yes.
And I think everything else is going to be when we recall. Ma'am, we're going to recall you later, and we would ask that you're not released from your subpoena, and the judge will instruct you about that. That's all we have at this time, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything within the scope of cross, Ms. Shermack?
If I could just have a minute.
Of course.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Wright, you're free to go today. You're still subject to the subpoena that you were served with. You may be called back. Between now and then, please do not speak to anybody about your testimony, including your husband. Okay? And please don't watch any coverage of this case. Don't read, listen, watch anything about it. Do you agree to do those things?
Yes.
Very good. You're free to go. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good time for a lunch break, counsel? Or do we have another short witness you want to get on and off?
Your Honor, we can break. I understand there's some legal issues to address too, so.
Understood. Okay. Any objection to a lunch break, counsel? All right. Please rise for the jury. Folks, quick reminder, you know what I'm going to say. Please don't discuss the case. Don't read, watch, or listen to anything about it. Please don't do any research. Enjoy your lunch. 12:40, counsel, is that reasonable?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 12:40. Thank you. Have a seat. Thank you. We're on the record. Mr. Bloodworth.
Your Honor, we're going to quickly next call Detective O'Driscoll just for a phone download. He'll have perhaps more time later.
Okay.
But then it's Mr. Cochedimos, and I understand the defense has some objections related to Mr. Cochedimos.
Mr. Ramos, tell me more.
Thank you, Judge.
I figured we'd do this just outside, that way we can speed things along. We've been provided with some exhibits that appear to rely, correct me if I'm wrong, on some CDR data, call detail records, from Verizon and T-Mobile, I believe, and AT&T. Those items, we were not provided notice of their use under 901.11, and so we would just make an objection under that.
Forgive me. They were provided some reasonable time after being received by the state.
Yeah, no, the information was provided to us. We've had that for a while. Just notice of their use under that business record exception.
Can you give me that citation one more time?
Yeah. Apologies. Rule 902.11, I believe is what they would be coming in through. And specifically, I'm referring to the written notice.
Why isn't inclusion of these records on the state's exhibit list fair notice under 902.11?
Just based on the case law, Judge, I could give you a citation. I have two cases I think are fairly on point. 32P3D 976, State v. Webster.
What's the other one?
And then 322 P3D 624, State v. Pereira. We just bring this up, Judge, now. We could have a ruling after lunch is fine. And that would be our only objection.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Bloodworth, I made an assumption there, if you could just confirm it for me. These call detail records were in fact included among the state's proposed exhibits on its exhibit list?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything further on this, sir?
Yeah, right, Your Honor. Just to clarify that, they've been disclosed, and the disclosure included the certification
Right.
from whoever returned the subpoena.
Right. The declaration, I understand your point to be slightly different than the self-authenticating piece. Got it?
Correct.
Okay, pause there for a minute. I'll take a look at those two cases, Mr. Ramos. We can pick this up at 12:40. After Ms. Crosswhite testified, and after we took that break, one of the jurors passed out the following note. I'll read it. I don't think this is an issue, but just letting you know. Quote, Judge, I have met witness Molly Crosswhite professionally. She has done one transaction for a home where I work. Any concerns, Mr. Bloodworth?
No, Your Honor.
My to-do list.
Sure.
Either following lunch or at the end of the day, may we address the motion for mistrial that you made at sidebar following the mention of jail calls by Ms. Gibson?
Yes, I'm prepared whenever you are.
All
Just
right.
let me know.
Let's do that after lunch as well.
Okay.
Thank you. We will be in recess until 12:40. Thank you.